It is amazing how many times this comes up in discussions of Islam. Again, I'm going to play the history card here. For Muhammad's time period and location, having sexual intercourse with a 9-year-old was perfectly acceptable. Neither he, nor Aisha, nor anyone else would have considered it to be a bad or disgusting thing. I'm not even going to go into the debate of how old Aisha really was. I'm just going to mention that both Muslim and non-Muslim scholars are still debating and researching this fact. You also have to realize that the people of Muhammad's time period had considerably shorter lifespans than we have now. A child of 9 at that time period was already more mature and capable than your average 17-year-old male American is in our time period. This is because children were raised and treated differently then. So, am I condoning Muhammad's actions? If it were in our time period, no. However, since it's not in our time period, yes. According to the histories about Muhammad, he treated Aisha, and in fact all of his wives, extremely well, both monetarily and emotionally. Muhammad would even marry widows to ensure that they and their children had shelter and enough food. This may seem odd to us now, but back then, despite Islam's advances for women's rights, a widowed woman didn't have very many options. Okay, misconception number 4. Muslims are not allowed to date or choose their own spouses. As non-Muslims see dating, yes, this is true. This is because in Islam, if they are not your husband or wife, you shouldn't be thinking about them in a sexual fashion. If you do think about someone who isn't your spouse in this way, it is haram, or a sin. To help avoid this kind of sin, Muslims do not date in the same informal way some non-Muslims do. As a result of this belief, instead of going off alone to date, Muslim men and women instead meet in a chaperoned environment after telling their parents they want to find a spouse. This chaperoned environment is with their parents, their imam, the priest of their mosque, or another trusted friend or family member going along with them. Some Muslims go out and eat together, see movies, do typical date things in this environment. Some just meet in their own homes and talk. Many talk to each other on the phone and send letters or emails back and forth, all while maintaining a discussion with their parents. Oftentimes, at least for Western Muslims, the young person who is looking for a spouse will already have someone in mind. During a short courtship period, the couple is encouraged to talk and get to know each other's personalities to see if a marriage between them would be successful. If it's a case of the parents choosing someone for their children, they will generally try to find someone whose personality is to their child's liking, or who will at least treat them well. While arranged marriage isn't always optimal, it isn't always a terrifying encounter. Many videos and documentaries, both here on YouTube and elsewhere, have stated that the point of marriage in Islam is for the husband and wife, or wives, to be as companions to each other, to be kind to each other, to talk, be friends, be supportive. It is meant to be a loving and caring environment for all involved. Mind you, I'm not saying there are no forced marriages in the Muslim world. Forced marriages do happen, usually to the detriment of the girl or woman being married off. This is due to regional customs being twined with a greater Islamic religious context. For many Muslims, forced marriage is frowned upon. Okay, I'll end with a few things which you don't often hear about Muslims and Islam.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون إنما السبيل على الذين يظلمون الناس ويبغون في الأرض بغير